Good morning and welcome to First Parish in Brookline, whether you've been coming for decades or just joined us today. First Parish is a welcoming Unitarian Universalist congregation, open and affirming of all people. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts or abilities may be, however you identify your gender or sexual orientation, wherever your life and faith journey has taken you, you are welcome here. I am Elizabeth McIntyre, your worship associate this morning. Our guest minister today is Reverend Aisha Ansano. Reverend Asano is developing Dinner Church and is affiliate minister at First Parish in Malden. She is excited about the intersection of food, spirituality, and community, and she looks forward to continuing to find ways to fit them all together in her ministry. Please take a moment to look over the announcements in the order of service. After the service, everyone is warmly invited to join us for conversation and refreshments through this door to Lion Chapel. We encourage both newcomers and long-timers to pick up one of our stripe mugs at coffee hour. They look like this. If you have a particular interest in sharing conversation with others you may not know or know well, welcome one and all.
Our call to worship this morning is words from the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Whatever you have come in anticipating, whatever you expect or worry for our world, for the future, for our lives, let it go. Make space in your heart to be surprised. Make room in your soul for a new story take shape. Let astonishment be possible at this life that remains a miracle. Imagine here the bursting of joy, relentless, resilient, coming in waves, washing over us with music and story, silent and still, this dreaming together, being hope for each other and courage to believe in this new day dawning for all of us. Come, let us worship together. And now I invite you to rise as you are willing and able in body or in spirit to join us in singing our opening hymn, number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
to invite Aaron and Mariah Sondergaard Newell to come forward to light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith the world over. Please join me in our unison affirmation printed in your order of service in Spanish and then in English. Nos entregamos y nos comprometemos a caminar juntos como congregación, prometiendo con mucha fe cuidarnos mutuamente y dedicarnos en el amor que permanecerá entre nosotros. We give ourselves one unto another, covenanting to walk together as a congregation, promising faithfully to watch over one another, and to delight our love to abide in our midst. Each week we also light 2 candles of peace and hope, each candle representing a different place on earth that we want to lift up and remember this morning as a sacred encounter with the world. After each of the candles is lit, we will speak the words for peace in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. Peace, salam, shalom. Our candle of peace is lit for the U.S. Senate as our political leaders undergo the impeachment trial of President Trump. May all those participating in this trial approach it with open ears, ready and willing to hear those with whom they disagree. Open eyes ready to discern what is true and what is vital, and open hearts ready and determined to demonstrate the courage to act from integrity and love. Peace, salam, shalom. Our candle of hope today is for the arts. Playing currently at the American Repertory Theater in Cambridge is Gloria, a Life, about the life of Gloria Steinem and the history of second-wave feminism, including the amazing women of color who contributed so much to this movement. This production strikingly illustrates how far we have come in the last 70 years, and just how intersectional women's rights, racial justice, climate justice, and gay rights are. After the show, the audience and cast participated in a 20-minute talking circle. I was moved and my hope was filled up as people shared stories, confronted one another, found a new compassion and open-mindedness, and were changed. Peace, salam, shalom.
And now let us sing the children out to their classes. I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer. Holy One, here we are. Here we are amidst the hustle and bustle of our lives, the ebb and the flow and the cycle of a new year, of routines old and new, of excitements and heartbreaks and the weird muddle in the middle. Here we are this morning, choosing to be together and taking a deep breath in and out. When the world around us breaks our heart, when the news from those we love and those we have never met comes at us day after day after day, when we feel like we cannot cope, be with us. Help us to remember that we are not alone, that we are held in love. Help us to remember that our words and actions matter deeply, that we have the power to make a difference. In moments of despair, Spirit, help us to find the things that give us strength, that bring us joy, that remind us that we have what it takes. God of all names, be with those who are hurting and grieving in our smaller communities and out in the wider world, at borders, in hospitals, in quiet rooms and loud public spaces. Be the still, quiet moment they need, the momentary respite, the breath of fresh, cool air. And help us to be those things for each other, for those we know and for those we don't. Spirit, help us to remember and recognize the small moments that bring strength and joy, an unexpected smile, a ray of sunshine, the opening notes of a familiar, beloved song. Help us to notice and to revel in these moments. Holy One, in the midst of it all, the joy and the sorrow and the in-between, help us to simply be. Please join me in a moment of silence.
Spirit is Calling by John Saxon. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It calls us in the silence and through the noise and busyness of our daily lives. It calls us in the brightness of the day and the darkness of the night, in times of hope and despair. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It doesn't matter what you call it, for it has no name and has many different names. The Spirit of life, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of compassion, the Spirit of hope, the Spirit of justice. Listen, can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. It's calling to you and to me. It's calling us to greater wholeness, greater connection, greater service, greater love. It's calling us to heal the brokenness within ourselves, in others, and in the world. It's calling us to live more deeply. It's calling us to beauty. It's calling us to laugh and dance and sing. It's calling us to live through life's pain and sorrow. It's calling us to live courageously and kindly, to speak our truth in love, and to bend the moral arc of the universe toward justice. It's calling us into community. It's calling us into the greater life of all. Listen. Can you hear it? The Spirit is calling. The offering will now be gratefully received. If you are visiting First Parish for the first time today, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. We are so glad to have you.
For all that you have given and all that we have received, we say thank you. Some words from Liz James. I'm not sure those townspeople were being selfish in the stone soup story. You probably remember how it goes. An old woman came into the village and asked for ingredients to make food, and everyone said they had nothing. She began to boil a pot of water with a stone in it, and she said, "Oh, I wish I had a little salt." And someone came forward shyly with a little bit of salt tucked away in a pocket. Then she wondered out loud if she could find just a few root vegetables, and someone else had that. Someone else had rice, and so on until a glorious soup was made. We're taught that this tale is about tricking a meal out of selfish people. But I don't think that's what happened. I mean, if someone asked me if I had a meal to share with them, and I only had a half teaspoon of salt or a few of those vegetables that are always in the back of my fridge, I would say I couldn't help them. I wouldn't be lying when I said I had nothing to give. I would just be wrong. When we say there's nothing we can do, we're not lying. That phone call we might make, that $5 we might donate, that quick email of encouragement we might send, these things feel so small that we think they're the same as having nothing to offer. The stone soup story isn't about selfish people. It's about people who thought they were powerless. It's about people learning that they had something to offer after all, that would feed themselves and each other. And I invite you now to rise as you are willing and able to join our voices in our hymn of preparation, Let the Life I Lead.
Let the light
Hands down, no question, is Moana. You may have guessed that after that incredible rendition of some of the songs. If you're not familiar with it, Moana is a Disney movie. It's a couple years old now, and it tells the story of the daughter of the chief of an island nation. Everyone on the island has a role and a place in society. They do not voyage out beyond the reef that surrounds their island. Moana constantly feels called out to the sea, to exploration, and she embarks on a quest that takes her far beyond the reef, out into the world and the sea and adventure. In the end, she does come home to her island, but her life is changed forever. She changes the lives of everyone around her. I saw Moana in theaters 4 times. I cried every time. I have seen it too many times to count now. At home, introducing new friends to it, watching it while I get work done, listening to the soundtrack and singing along when I need to have my spirits lifted. It is my favorite movie. My mom, who saw it with me the first time I saw it in theaters, asked me why this particular movie was so special to me. What it was about it that captured my heart so deeply that I asked my sister to sing a song from it at my ordination. The superficial answer to why I love Moana is easy. It's about a brown girl with curly hair who grew up on an island. I have never seen myself so well represented in a movie. And if you haven't seen it, the animation in that movie is absolutely incredible. Her hair, the ocean, the sand, it is incredibly beautiful. But that's not the only reason I love that movie, that finally there is a Disney princess, well, not a princess, the daughter of a chief, who looks like me and grew up in a place that looks like where I grew up. I also love Moana because it's a movie about figuring out who you are, even if who you are is different from the people around you who you love. It's a movie about striking forth, about forging a path, about discovering yourself and how you fit into the wider world, as well as into your smaller communities. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It is incredible. But this sermon, for better or for worse, is not a love letter to Moana, though I could talk about that for several more hours. Part of the reason that movie resonated so strongly with me is that I could absolutely relate to being called towards something that did not align with what I or anyone else expected of me. I went to divinity school planning to be an academic, and somehow, 6 years later, I'm an ordained minister. In ministry, we talk a lot about call. A person can be called to ministry broadly, to a particular kind of ministry, to a church. Those don't mean all the exact same things, but we use that word call to talk about them all. Before I started seminary, call was not a concept I was very familiar with, and honestly, it was one I was pretty uncomfortable with. To me, experiencing a call necessitated a belief in God, a God that could call people to something, sometimes very, very literally. I would think of Moses and the burning bush, with God manifesting in a slightly terrifying physical form, saying Moses' name and telling him exactly what he was to do. A literal calling out by name by God to tell you what to do. I would think of Mary, the mother of Jesus, to whom an angel appeared who told her, "The Lord is with you," and explicitly laid out a task. "You will conceive and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus." That's a call. An angel angel comes into your house and tells you exactly what the next steps in your life are going to be. That was not something that was ever going to happen to me. I would never experience a call to ministry. A sermon that I heard early in my seminary career has really stuck with me. The preacher talked about call and the call to ministry and where it comes from. She said in a lot of traditions, many people understand a call to ministry as coming from a divine source, somewhere outside yourself. And many youths may, in fact, understand a call to ministry that way, but many don't. Some UU ministers experience the call to ministry as a deep moment of clarity from somewhere outside themselves. Some don't. But what stuck with me in that sermon is that the preacher talked about call coming from a lot of different places. Ministers may feel an external divine call, a calling of your name by a physical manifestation or representation of God. But we are also called to ministry by our communities, by those who love us, by those who surround us, by those who we are serving and will serve. In affirming our skills, our dreams, our lives, people are calling us toward ministry. When I started telling people that I was going to be a minister, there was some surprise. I never considered ministry in any way. I hadn't even identified as religious since high school, and now I was all in. But I was most surprised by the lack of surprise. By people saying, that makes sense. By people recalling bits and pieces of my life that they could connect with my call to ministry. That time at age 3 when I pulled 2 fighting friends at my daycare into the tree house and mediated their conflict. My constant desire to hold space for people to grow and become fully themselves. My curiosity about people's lives and the ways in which they found meaning. Sure, it makes perfect sense to me that you're trying to be a minister. I would think, would have been nice if you told me that a long time ago. But it was all part of how I was being called to be a minister and to do ministry in the world. But, just like this sermon is unfortunately not a Moana fan letter, it is also not an autobiography of my ministry journey, or even about a call to ministry at all. This sermon is about you. This sermon is about what you are called to do. Someone asked me once when I was talking about my personal call to ministry if I believed that everyone was called to their profession. I don't, or I'm not sure that I do. But I do believe that all are called. Maybe not to their profession. Unfortunately, the world is not set up in a way that allows everyone to do work that makes their heart sing. I wish that it was. But all are called. You are called. You are called. You are called to a place or to an idea. You're called to a cause, to a way of being in the world, a role in life. You are called, and if you think I am not speaking directly to each and every one of you, you are called. There's a quote by the Presbyterian minister and novelist Frederick Buechner that you may have heard. The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. It's usually used to talk about vocation, fitting your professional life into the space where the world's needs and your joy overlap, along with someone who's willing to pay you to joyfully fulfill that need. But I don't think that quote is just about jobs. The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. The world's deep hunger might meet your deep gladness when you live in a place that feeds your soul and allows you to greet each day with gratitude and joy. The world's deep hunger might meet your deep gladness when, whether inside or outside of your paid work, you strive for justice, for those affected by climate change or borders or anything else that grabs you. The world's deep hunger might meet your deep gladness in raising children who will be good stewards of the earth and citizens of the world. The world's deep hunger might meet your deep gladness every time you gather friends around your table and eat and laugh and cry together. You are called, I know that for a fact. What are you called to? Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because the world needs people who have come alive. These words from theologian and author Howard Thurman are among the truest that I have ever heard. The world needs people who have come alive. The moment of coming alive, that's the moment of recognizing and following your call. What makes you come alive? That is what you are called to do. What could you talk about for hours on end as those around you smile and nod politely? That is what you are called to do. What keeps you up at night, whether with excitement or anxiety? That is what you are called to do. What breaks your heart wide open? That is what you are called to address. What energizes you, motivates you, makes you want to go do it? That is what you are called to do. When I realized my call to ministry, I cried a lot. That was not my plan. I was going to finish my degree, get a PhD, become an academic. I had a very set plan. But I couldn't not follow that call. It has gripped me and it will not let me go. Come back to the water, no matter how hard I try. If I run away to Alaska and become a short order cook, which is my backup dream on the days when I am too stressed out to do ministry, unfortunately, I know for a fact that somehow, as a short order cook in Alaska, I will end up doing ministry. And so I stay here, even when Alaska beckons. Because if I'm going to do ministry, I would like to at least do it on my own terms. Who are you called to be? What are you called to do? You as an individual, but also as a community. We know that we are stronger together, that we can go farther together. I don't think only individual people can be called. As a family, biological or chosen, what are you called to do? As a couple, what are you called to do? As a group of friends, what are you called to do? As a church, what are you called to do? Follow that call. Follow your dreams, no matter how wild and wonderful they may be. Follow the deepest yearnings of your heart and the things that make your soul sing. Follow that still small voice, you know, the one that speaks into the silence, even when you don't want it to, that pipes up in the midst of the noise and the tumult, that calls you by name to the work that you must do. Rather than the expectations of the world, follow the expectations of your heart. Cut through the voices that clamor around you, that tell you you are not good enough, or strong enough, or smart enough, that the things you want to do are not going to make a difference. Cut through the voices that tell you what you are supposed to do. And start listening to the voices that tell you what you want to do. What brings you joy? We all have to do things in this life that are not the exact things we want to do. I know that to be true. And that doesn't mean that there isn't space to live fully into those moments of joy, those moments that give you butterflies because you just want to do it. Trust yourself. Trust that your community will hold you. That if you mess up, it will be okay. But please don't forget that you are called. Each and every one of you has a calling to fulfill in this world. What is it? Go do it. Amen. And now I invite you to rise as you are willing and able to join in our closing hymn, 1024, Spirit Says Do.
Please join me in our unison affirmation as Reverend Aisha extinguishes the chalice. We extinguish the flame and not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us and offer as gifts unto the world.
I invite you to take the hand or touch the elbow or shoulder of someone near you for the benediction. The world needs people who have come alive. So go, be swept up in that which makes you come alive. Dive head first into the ocean of your call. And know that you will be joyfully supported and cheered on with love. Go into this world in joy. Amen.